Hello, everyone, and welcome to Post ProRes for March 27th. I think it's the 27th of 2022. And my name is WH Park, and I'm not joined by John Pollock this episode. He's very busy. He's got WrestleMania week coming up. But as you can see, if you're on the YouTube gimmick, you can see like I do have a guest host, a co-host today, and it's of course a very popular Karen Peterson. Karen, how are you today?
It's been a while, WH.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So since I've been on a podcast with you, but doing
What was the last thing we did? Like MCU later, right? You did
back in December.
We did what was back in December?
It was right before Christmas.
Holy wow, that time flies.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It really does.
So
it was so last year. Oh my god.
I can't seriously I have done so many podcasting things, and that's not bragging, by the way. It's just stating matter of factly. Like, I can't remember what I've been on and when I did it. Like, I think the same is true for you. You've been like all over the place recently on different podcasts.
I'm trying to keep myself busy, trying to keep myself out of trouble.
Out of trouble? Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. You're in Florida. It's like it's a state of trouble, isn't it? I'm just kidding.
It's a perpetual state of trouble. Let's be honest.
all the people listening from Florida, I'm sure it's a very lovely state. I'm just joking. I don't mean anything by that. So, I'd like to visit the state one day. Go to Disneyland,
Disney World,
Disney World.
Disneyland's in California. Disney World is in Orlando.
I got to go to California as well at some point in my life, and yeah. But first, like the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go to St. Louis to visit my good friend Joey Bay because he's going to take me to a GCW show.
In St. Louis?
Maybe in Chicago. I don't know. In Ohio? I don't know.
I think they're in Jersey. Maybe. I don't know.
This is like the fall or something like that.
Oh, okay.
This is like, that's my plan is go to St. Louis, do a road trip to Chicago or the Midwest somewhere, go see some independent wrestling in the United States. But the main thing is to hang out with Joey. But, like he said, WH, we should go to a GCW show. And I say, hey, as long as they don't know who I am there, because I probably got heat over there, because I'm not a fan of the product. As long as they don't get it, no one knows who I am. So I'm not going to wear any, like, post-wrestling paraphernalia or anything like that.
You have to wear your hat and your post-ProRes t-shirt.
Not my long and winding road t-shirt. Oh, by the way, I do gotta. We should just say,
get the elephant in the room.
No, just the revised shirt is still on sale, and up until the end of the month, any part of the proceeds are going towards two great charities, and that two. Where's my camera there? Two great charities. One is the Japanese Red Cross, and the other one is Doctors Without Borders Canada to help. And for the second one is for helping people out in the Ukraine who need medical attention that might not be getting it, unfortunately, with the current world situation. So if you're interested in the shirt, like you're also going to be donating like money to two great causes. So get on that, folks. store.postwrestling.com. Someone famous might be wearing the shirt in the future, Karen. Like, I don't know if it's going to be before the end of the month or
really,
or I don't know. We sent some famous people shirts, whether they wear them or not. I don't know, but there's no elephant in the room. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
It's a good shirt. It's a good shirt.
It was a good shirt before, as well. There's nothing wrong with that shirt.
Nope.
The one before.
Nope. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. Hi, Zelda.
Sorry, my dog is she's trying to contribute to post wrestling as well. Apparently,
maybe she wants a long and winding road Pillars t-shirt.
She does love to wear the t-shirts. So
if she wants one of the original ones, we can make that happen privately. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
So it's a possibility for some people who ask nicely. It might. I'm not saying definitively or not. It might be possible to get that original shirt out to you because you're part of the family.
I mean, I do have there is it. I've got my. It's not a pillow. It's just a t-shirt on wrapped around a pillow, but it's part of the set now.
Their man Neil Flanagan, he was like, "Oh, that's really good, WH. I like how she did that." I'm like, "Oh, well, there you go." So you got a fan The Pillow's got a fan in Ireland's own their man Neil. So there you go.
Hey, we love Neil. Much love to Neil.
Well, I mean, some of us love Neil. Listen, I got a gimmick to uphold here with some of these post wrestling diehards. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm like the United Nations of post. Like I'm a Karen without borders. I love everybody.
There you go.
I check on everybody.
Well, I'm sure if things ever open up, AEW or someone has a big event in Toronto, and people are gonna flock. Nate Milton, Andrew Thompson, maybe yourself, maybe the international fans, Benno, JP, they're all gonna come to Toronto. Are you gonna come up?
If someone has a couch I can crash on, I am all about go. I will even go in the winter to Toronto.
Really?
I won't like it, but I'll do it.
It's colder than Tokyo in the winter.
I've been there in November. That's as close as I've gotten.
Oh yeah, November is nothing compared to January. And so we'll see. I think we're hoping for like the fall. Fall's beautiful. Toronto is very beautiful in the fall. Like I hope it happens in the fall. Summer's okay. It's not as hot as Japan, So that's god awful.
I'm in Orlando. It's been up lower for I guess in Celsius it's like around 30, 32 during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So we have summer weather already.
You didn't go to Tokyo during the summer, did you? For any of your trips?
When I was a flight attendant, I had multiple layovers.
Okay.
Throughout the 3 years I was flying.
And I miss Japan.
I lived in Tottori, so
yeah. I love Japan and I miss Japan. I do not miss the summers of Japan at all.
No,
not at all.
I don't either, especially with their climate. They have that concept of cool biz where it has to be a certain temperature before some places put on the air conditioning. I grew up in a hot climate, but we have air conditioning everywhere we go. Not a fan of it in Japan.
My apartment, as soon as June hit, it was 20 degrees life. You know what I mean? Like 20 degrees Celsius on that AC. I paid for it. But hey, if you can't enjoy being in your own apartment in the summer, is like, what's the point? What is the point? Right? So
exactly.
And Ken, we got a lot to talk about.
We sure do.
And a lot of big events coming up this weekend. And we're going to start off with Stardom. I know you are our Stardom expert here. So let's get into these two big cards for March 26th and March 27th. We're going to run down the cards and get your thoughts on them. I'll chime in with my own opinions as well. But why don't you lead off with the March 26th, tomorrow's card, today's card. Is it today? Tomorrow?
In a few hours card, maybe.
Sure.
It'll be 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I think is when it starts. So in several hours. So for the opening match is going to be Hanan is going to defend her future Stardom Championship against Rina.
The sisters? They're sisters?
Yes. Big sister against little sister. Then it's going to be Saya Iida versus Mirai in a singles match. And then there's the tag team gauntlet with Queen's Quest, Donna Del Mundo, Cosmic Angels with Momokogo and Oedo Tai. And on your list, you have TBA as Queen's Quest. I think that was where they slotted in Miyu Amasaki after she debuted.
Okay.
So she's the third person for their team. Then it'll be Donna Del Mundo's Maika and Tekla versus Prominence's Risa Serra and Suzu Suzuki. And then a tag match for the Goddesses of Stardom Championship with FWC of Hazuki and Koguma defending against Black Desire, Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. Then it is the match that probably may overshadow the entire card purely because it will be the homecoming of Kyrie as she tags with Mayu Iwatani against Tam Nakano and Unagi Sayaka.
It's the match that Davey Portman of Up Next is like just salivating over because he's a massive fan of Kyrie. He has a life-size cutout. I have seen it in person in his apartment. So, huge fan of Kyrie.
I mean, she's great. I too am a big fan, but I do not possess a cardboard cutout of any wrestler in my household.
Listen, it's like
not yet anyway.
Between like Davey Portman, Brayton Harrington, and like and Benno, Like, have you ever been on a Zoom call with that guy and like you see his background? I'm like, one time I just said, Benno, you need to cover up that Hulk Hogan behind you, man. Like, I can't do a podcast if I'm seeing Hulk Hogan images behind during the whole podcast. So, anyways, let's continue. Let's run down the rest of the card.
Then we continue with Saya Kamitani will defend the Wonder of Stardom Championship against her Aphrodite tag team partner, Queen's Quest stablemate Utami Hayashishita. And then the show will close out and could possibly begin the end of Donna Del Mundo with Shuri defending her World of Stardom Championship against Julia. And Shuri will be rolling in with a mystery bodyguard.
A bodyguard?
Yes, they had their last tag together as Ali Kaba, but in their post-match promo, they've decided that they're probably not going to be together much longer. But with all of Prominence showing up and causing trouble, and I believe Risa Sarah is going to eventually, hopefully, challenge Shuri for the World of Stardom Championship when she's done defending this coming weekend.
Right.
But Prominence is... They have a fifth member, Kurumi, who is not been booked on any Stardom match, but she's been joining them at ringside. So I feel like she could be the reason for the bodyguard, or Shuri could be genuinely concerned that, since Julia had her little project where she was a masked assailant for 3 months, that she could be bringing somebody else to be her second.
So you have any guesses as to who this bodyguard might be?
Someone made a joke about it being Hideki Suzuki, and I seriously doubt it's going to be Hideki Suzuki.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
I have no idea. Hopefully it'll be a surprise. Hopefully it'll be somebody we know.
Now, that being said, do you think it's a male wrestler or a female wrestler?
I'm hoping it's a female wrestler. I don't really feel the need that Stardom needs to have male seconds and male backup. I would be curious because of Shuri's long reach on the indies, who it could be. But I'm curious if it would be somebody who would be possibly a trigger or problematic for Julia.
Oh, who could that be? Someone from Ice Ribbon then.
I mean, some of the Ice Ribbon girls are retiring very soon, so somebody could come over and cause a little trouble on the way out. I don't know.
I mean, the big one would be, I think, Tsukasa Fujimoto.
Oh, could you imagine?
But I don't think...
You might hear me all the way from Orlando, Florida.
I don't think she'll leave Ice Ribbon to do that role. You know what I mean?
No, but she is going on an indefinite leave of absence starting next month. She's recently gotten married, and she announced that her and I believe Tsukushi, she's another one that's retiring in the next month or so from Ice Ribbon. So we will see.
We'll find out very soon after you listen to this. The card might be happening. You might already know who the bodyguard is. But anyways, let's before we move on to the next, 27th, let's talk about your predictions for maybe just the championship matches.
Okay, let me scroll back up real quick. I would like Hanan to have a long run with the belt. I'm not a fan of hot potatoing titles. So I'd like Hanan to keep the future title. I could see Hazuki and Koguma dropping the Goddess's belt to Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe because Starlight Kid is they've strapped the rocket to her and she's like lightning right now. Saya will probably keep hers, and I think, and like Hanan, Shuri is dead in the water if she doesn't keep the World of Stardom Championship. She's fought too long and too hard to keep it. Julia doesn't need a belt. She's got her Prominence is still here. Julia needs to take care of all of that before she even thinks about being World of Stardom champion.
Right. I'm gonna probably echo your sentiments. I do think probably Hanan needs to keep the belt, so she's probably going to keep it. I don't think Rina is ready for a belt now. As far as FWC versus Black Desire, I would like FWC to keep it, but I think they don't need it. Starlight Kid needs, since she lost the high speed title, she needs some gold around her waist. And it'd be great for her and Momo Watanabe to have those titles. And I think they're a very good duo. So yes. I think the high quality of tag team champions is going to continue with if Black Desire does win the belts. So, and then for the Wonder, the white belt, I don't see Saya losing the title. Like, again, Utami doesn't need the belt. Like, and I think she is the big project, Saya Kamitani for Stardom. And then Shuri versus Julia. I honestly, this is one thing I love about Stardom is that it could go either way. Yeah, I can see the argument to put it on Julia to cement her in that top position because that's the one thing she'll need to like just cement her on the Mayu Iwatani level to cement her on that level, like that Utami level. She's just beneath those two, right? And in my opinion,
yeah.
But she doesn't need it now. Like eventually she'll get it, and you can build a big match for that, maybe for like the year-end show at the end of this year.
Yeah, and before she lost the white belt to Tam last year, she had a good run with the Wonder of Stardom Championship. So again, Julia is one of those people that they can put a belt on whenever they feel like it because there's no shortage of belts in Stardom. But again, she's on that level where she'll eventually get the red belt. I just don't think she needs it right now. I think Shuri's fought the long, hard like road to get it. So just like putting it on her for like 3 months and then taking off her, it just doesn't with minimal defenses. It just doesn't.
And they don't usually hotshot the red belt.
No, they unless they're leaving the company for good. No.
Yeah. No, they like to keep it on people and establish them in that role. Like they're very, like Rossio Gal is very, very conscientious about who he's going to pick to be the top title holder in Stardom. So like everyone, like, from when I started watching, it was like, Tony Storm, and then it went to like, who did Tony Storm lose to? I can't remember. Like,
was it Kyrie?
No, not Kyrie, because Kyrie has already gone to WWE at that point. So it's like, like Io was still there, but she wasn't. Was she the red champion? I can't remember.
I don't know.
But anyways, like, like everyone, like since then, since the time I started watching Stardom, a couple, like 4 years ago, has been, okay, makes sense. That makes sense. Up to like Utami is like, okay, she's the supernova rookie. We're going to strap her with the red belt. And she did wonders with that belt. So
she sure did.
Yeah. So, and then finally for the 26th show, the tag match, Mayu and Kyrie, two-thirds of Freedom, getting back together to take on Cosmic Angels. Who do you think is going to win that match? I feel like Kyrie has to win.
I agree. You don't go through all of the trouble of bringing her back and the pomp and circumstance and the special press conference and the long-term storytelling of who the mystery guest is just for her to show up and lose. I have a feeling Tam and Unagi are going to give a good fight. Tam's inability to beat Mayu will probably come into play and keep Tam busy. So I feel like Kyrie's going to end up pinning Unagi at some point in that match.
I mean, that's why she's in the match. She's the pin eater. And that's fine, because like they did build that, like, hey, I'm the gatekeeper here in Stardom, and I take care of all the new people, and which, like, to say Kyrie is a new person to Stardom is kind of funny, because she's a founder of Stardom, like a founding part of the original dojo class, right?
I believe she was either in the original class or was in the class immediately after it, but she's been, she's one of the names that's synonymous with the company.
Yeah, like up
even
there
after she left to go to WWE, people still talk about Kairi Hojo.
Yeah, so I mean, she's up there with like people like Mayu and back in the day Yoshiko and Nanai Takahashi, who we'll talk about it a little bit before we end this show. But let's go to the 27th. Right. I'll run through this card. So either Hanan or Rina will take on Mai Sakurai for the future Stardom Championship. I feel whoever wins, I think it's going to be Hanan, and I think she'll retain over Mai Sakurai here. Unagi Sayaka versus Mina Shirakawa versus Lady C versus Miyu Amasaki versus Saki Kashima versus Ruaka versus Saida versus Momokogo versus Waka Tsukiyama versus Tomoka Inaba versus Aoi versus Haruka Umasaki versus Nami versus Maria versus Ai Hozan versus Mei Suruga versus Yuna Mizumori versus TBA in the Cinderella Scramble match. And what is the Cinderella Scramble match, Karen?
It's kind of like a Rumble, I guess, or it's either a Rumble or a Battle Royal. They're just all gonna be in there trying to be the last girl standing.
Do they win anything special?
I don't think so. Bragging rights, maybe, because I don't remember when Unagi won it at All Star Dream Cinderella last year. I don't think she got anything out of it, unless she challenged. That's when she first challenged for the white belt. But I don't remember.
It's to get a spot, or like maybe the winner will get a bye to the second round of Cinderella. Who knows?
Unless because they've already released the tournament bracket for that, and the only two people that have buys right now are Utami and Kamitani as the top title holders.
Right.
And then there's like a 8 match or really a large number of matches on the very first day of the Cinderella tournament on April 3rd.
Well, I mean, it's not like the New Japan Cup where what was that, 38 people?
Yeah, no, it's I believe it's 30.
Right.
It's not 48 or 65 or 129 or an exorbitant number of people, but it's literally every person in Stardom, including, I believe they've also brought back Hina, Rena's twin, is finally coming back now that she's gotten into her high school choice, and she's going to be coming back to Queen's Quest.
Yeah, that's always weird to say. Oh yeah, they're still in high school.
Yeah, they're still in high school.
Yeah,
they're just 15 and 17.
I've if you've been listening to me talk about Stardom for the last several years, you'll know like I have my feelings about high school students being in the public eye like that. I'm not a huge fan of it. It is what it is. But like if I had my choice, I'd be like, hey, you guys can train and you can be seconds, but you're not debuting until like you finish high school. That's just me. That's just me. Anyways, let's continue. Saya Kamitani will defeat, or Utami Hayashi Shida will defend the Wonder of Stardom title against Mirai. Whoever wins that on the day before is not losing to Mirai. So we'll just go continue with that.
That one is the loser of Kamitani Hayashishita, because that'll be the number one. I believe it's a number one contenders match or something. But yeah, that's the whomever loses the match the night before faces Mirai.
Right. Oh, my mistake. So I don't think Mirai. They're giving her kind of a big push, though, aren't they?
I mean, she showed up in January, and like 3 weeks later, she was challenging Sherry for the world belt. So Mirai's probably one we have to keep our eye on this year.
Yeah, definitely.
She is the future, after all.
Hazuki will take on former teammate Momo Watanabe. A lot of history here. Hazuki and Momo Watanabe were original members of Queen Quest, along with Azumi. These were the 3, girls that Io Shirai recruited when she started Queen's Quest. So, and then there's a lot of drama when Hazuki got recruited into Oedo Tai, and now she's back in with. She's part of Stars now, and then Momo joined Oedo Tai, betrayed Queen's Quest. So this should be great. I think these two have great chemistry with one another, and there's so much history here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, because I think I first started watching Stardom when they used to have the Stardom draft, and the very first Stardom draft I watched was probably, I think, a month or so after I started watching, and that was the one where Hazuki got drafted into Oedo Tai, and it was this whole big thing. So I'm glad to see that they're going to have a singles match, and it's one that doesn't need a title. So
no, I think the fans who are going to be there live will just be like, "Oh my god,
that's a fan service match."
It's a dream match, I think, for a lot of fans. Let's go to the next one for the High Speed Championship. The current champion Azumi will take on either Koguma. Oh, we'll take on Koguma and Natsupoi in a 3-way match. This should just change this title to the 3-way match title. I feel like it's always a 3-way title match, and they rarely change hands on 3-ways. I feel like it's just gonna whoever like Azumi will retain, and then one of the other two is just gonna say, "Well, I want a singles match now for that title."
I feel like Koguma keeps getting shoehorned into the high speed championship matches because she's the high speed genius. But she keeps ending up being the one that eats the pin. She's the bridesmaid, but never the bride. And, Natsupoi is another one that she had a good 2021, but I don't feel like Natsupoi is going to be the one eating the pin in this match. I feel like it's going to be Koguma.
Yeah.
So I don't think Rossi's going to shotgun the high speed championship onto Koguma after Azumi fought this long to get it back off of Starlight Kid.
That's right. Like, I think we're safe to say that Azumi will probably retain the championship. Following that will be a singles match. Kyrie will take on the dastardly Starlight Kid, and judging by your smile, this must be one of the matches that you're looking forward to the most.
All right, so since 2021 was a hard year because a lot of my favorites turned heel, including Starlight Kid. But for Starlight Kid, when she turned heel, it was the best thing for her. And the companies really leaned into her as a competitor, as a leader within her faction. And I think this is the year where Starlight Kid might get a singles championship that is not the high speed championship. I think she has the potential to be Wonder of Stardom champion by the end of this year. So getting that match with Kyrie, it's going to be a big deal.
So who do you think is going to win that match?
I think Kyrie's going to win, but she's going to not give Starlight Kid an outstanding performance, but she is going to bring out the best and make her work for it.
And probably endorse her afterwards. Yeah. Probably, which is a great thing.
Begrudgingly endorse her because, Starlight Kid was the one that kind of checked her in the back of the head at the press conference when Oedo Tai jumped Kyrie when she first came back. So, but I think after Starlight Kid, there's going to, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get Kyrie versus Momo and Kyrie versus Natsuko Tora when she's cleared to come back, because they were the aggressors at the press conference. And they were all rookies when she left, and she's basically now trying to see how far they've come in the 5 years she's been gone.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, she's not in the Cinderella, Kyrie.
Kyrie is not in the Cinderella tournament, no.
Right. So, but it's safe to say, when they have the next big show, that she's probably gonna have a match on the next big show that they have, whether say Korakuen or in a bigger venue.
Yeah, if there's a big, I'm guessing there's going to be a big card for the Cinderella tournament finals on the 29th of April. So we could probably see her come back then. But because the tour is split into, the tournament itself is split into 3 stops, I don't see her being in any of the undercard matches. I feel like she's kind of going to be, at least for the time being, because she's a freelancer, they're going to bring her in for the big show at the end of the month, each month, possibly. But nothing, she's not going to be doing Korakuen, small Korakuen shows, or going up to Niigata or up to Morioka or anything like that.
She could go up to Sendai because she wants to go visit, Meiko Satomura or the girls at the Sendai Girls or something like that.
She should go back home to Yamaguchi, get a homecoming in her home tiny prefecture of Yamaguchi.
I can see them doing that. It would get a huge pop if she ended up going there. But following this the singles match between Kyrie and Starlight Kid, we're gonna have an 8-woman tag team title tag team match, not a title match. It's just but it's gonna be Donna Del Mundo taking on the members of Prominence, and this is kind of like a blood feud. I can see this becoming an all-out war.
And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about Shuri versus Julia. Donna Del Mundo is basically getting stuck dealing with Julia's her pre-stardom drama has just showed up at the doorstep of stardom, and Donna Del Mundo, by association with Julia, is getting saddled with Julia's problems. So it's one of those things where, honestly, I'm hoping Julia doesn't win, because Julia needs to be the fifth woman in the corner for this match, because I can guarantee you that, as we said before, Kurumi, the 5th member of Prominence, she's not included in this match. She'll be at ringside. And if Julia wants numbers, or at least somebody to be, help her with Prominence after this coming weekend, she needs to show up and show out.
Yeah.
And not make her colleagues fight her battle for her.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. Just in case people are wondering what the deal is with the members of Prominence and Julia, where's the heat? There's legit heat there, because the members of Prominence are all from Ice Ribbon.
Yes.
So, and Julia used to work in Ice Ribbon. That's where she started.
Yep.
And she declared, I'm going to leave Ice Ribbon. I'm retiring from wrestling. but she didn't retire from wrestling. She jumped to Stardom because this is right. I think very shortly after the Bushiroad purchase, they were in acquisition mode.
It was around that time, yeah.
She was their first real big acquisition, and it caused a lot of problems because she didn't fulfill certain bookings. So I forget, is it who was it that had to postpone their retirement? Is this Kushi?
I have no idea. Like, I just remember it being this very big deal that there was a miscommunication about when one contract was ending and when the other one was starting, and if there was any overlap. And
yeah,
it got sorted out very quickly and very under the radar. But
under the table, more likely, like here's some yen, like tied you guys over.
But with Prominence showing up at the beginning of this year and kind of airing out Julia's dirty laundry in a very public forum as part of the storyline to bring them into Stardom, it's kind of raising a lot of eyebrows. It's kind of making people scratch their heads, and I just don't want to see Donna Del Mundo fall to pieces because of,
Hey,
outstanding debt, as it were.
I'm all here for real life drama being used in angles and stuff. It just if it enhances the heat, it's all good. If it's not like anything super inappropriate or anything like that, bring the heat, bring the real life drama. I'm all for it. So I think this is going to be a fantastic match. Definitely one to
it'll be great.
Keep your eye out on. And then for the Wonder Stardom Championship, it'll be either Saya Kamitani or Itami Hayashishida. I think it's going to be Saya. Will take on former champion Tom Nakano, and I think there's more history with Saya versus Tom because Tom was the person that lost the title to Saya, so like this is kind of the rematch. There's the mentor, apprentice relationship that Tam has with Saya, so there's a lot of more built-in storyline with Tom taking on Saya for this title, and I'm going to say that Saya probably retains in this match as well.
I would agree. The thing about Tam is that she had to fight the long fight with series with Julia to finally win the white belt, and she had a good run with the white belt. She's another one that I think they're getting ready to poise for the red belt eventually. Don't know if it's going to be this year or not, but I don't think Tam's another one that, she's so popular she doesn't need a championship all the time. And I believe she and Shirakawa and Unagi are going to be challenging for the artist's belts again at some point in the near future. I have to check my notes. But again, it's not... She doesn't need to shorten Saya's reign by just getting the belt back after like 2 defenses.
No, and that's one of the great things about Stardom. One of the things I like about it is that you have all these people that are ready to become like aces of sorts in the company or join that elite level, that elite class at the top of Stardom. You have Tam, you have Starlight Kid, you have like Mayu always is going to be in the running to be a champion of like either the white belt or the red belt. And that's the great thing about it. Tommy's going to be the champion again, I'm sure, in her career, and it's great. And Julia's going to get that red belt at some point as well. Sherry's going to have a very good reign, I hope, and I believe she's going to have a good reign. So it's what makes Stardom like my favorite promotion right now in the world, and like I'm so excited about this. But let's talk about the last match. So it will be either Sherry or Julia. Probably Sherry will take on the icon of Stardom, Mayu Iwatani, for the World of Stardom Championship. And what's your prediction for this match?
I mean, Mayu is another one where she held the belt for a very long time. She's held the belt more than one time. She doesn't need the belt. I would love to see what kind of high level match Shuri could get out of her. But the other problem is that Julia and Mayu, I believe they've wrestled before, but it's always been time limit draws. I don't remember if one has actually beaten the other one, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I want it to be Shuri. I want Shuri to walk out this weekend still a red belt champion. I want her to walk into the tournament red belt champion.
I mean, the way Stardom books, I can see like Shuri beats Julia night 1. She then cements herself by beating Mayu, and then she continues for the rest of the year to be the red champion, and then you just build up Julia to like build up for the next big, but probably the end of the year show.
Yeah,
that seems to be like their Wrestle Kingdom now, is like the
Queendom.
The Queendom show is at end of December. I think that's probably where they're going to crown Julia, and it's probably going to be against Shuri, because like they're really building this like rivalry of these former tag partners.
Yeah,
of like becoming heated rivals against one another. And I feel like Shuri's like going to debut her new bodyguard, and then she's probably going to slowly but surely debut other people to create a new faction within Stardom.
I have this gut feeling that Donna Del Mundo is going to end up being split in half. My feeling is that with bringing Mirai and Tekla in, those are two pretty much, in my opinion, locks to be with Julia.
Yeah.
Maika would of Maika, Himeka, and Natsupoi, Maika is the one I could see leaving Julia, or to join Julia, because she was the very first one that Julia brought into Stardom. But at the same time, I also see Natsupoi saying, I don't want to deal with any of this, and go run off and join Kyrie. So
that's entirely possible, because they did the angle there where she's like, you're like, did you ever see the videos on Stardom World where it was like Kyrie, they like Stardom created this fitness class with Kyrie, Natsupoi, and Sariano. It's very funny stuff.
I will have to chase that up. I will have to deep dive in the Stardom World archives. I have never seen that. I didn't know that was a thing.
It was legit. They started a fitness class. Like fans would, I think fans would pay for the opportunity to do like an aerobics class or something like that with Kyrie.
Man, I want to go to Kyrie's gym, because Kyrie is jacked right now. She's got abs. She's got great arms. She's doing all the cross train, whatever she's doing at her new 24-hour gym. It's working for her.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe Sariano is going to be like showing up at that gym. Maybe she's going to show up in Stardom. Who knows? She's got history with the company. We'll see. But this wraps up our preview for these two big Stardom shows that are going to be happening this weekend, and it's going to be very, very exciting. And for all the fans who want to get the analysis of these two shows, keep an eye at postwrestling.com, because Karen over here she's going to be doing the reviews and the written reviews that are second to none on our site.
Oh, thank you.
What does John always say? John always says, like, it's like reading an essay.
It's a newsletter. It's a
newsletter.
My newsletter to Stardom.
It's your own, like, the Wrestling Observer has got nothing on Karen here when it comes to Stardom. The Stardom Observer, maybe, I don't know.
I'm more Stardom observant than an observer. Maybe, I don't know.
It's great. We have you. We have Mark Buckledy doing all our, some of our New Japan coverage, and pretty much all of our DDT coverage, which is great. I don't want to watch DDT. I'm not a fan. It doesn't do anything for me. But anyways, that is that. Let's move on. Let's stay in the Bushiroad family. We're going to move on to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we're going to talk about the upcoming cards, which is also this weekend. So the two companies that are owned by Bushiroad are having kind of competing shows with one another in different cities, of course. But still, it's going to be kind of, competing for like who, live viewing audiences, I suppose. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does.
Yeah. So New Japan on March 26th will hold their semifinals for their New Japan Cup. This is happening in Osaka, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, at Edion Arena.
Yes, probably.
I don't see this being an Osaka Joe Hall card.
No, I don't think it was Osaka Joe Hall. I'll check while you start talking.
Have you ever been to Edion Arena?
I have not, but I have been to Osaka Joe Hall, but not for wrestling. I've been to concerts there.
Yes, so I've been to Osaka-jo Hall for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I've been to Edion Arena. I tend to
It
prefer.
is Sorry, it is Osaka-jo Hall.
Is it Osaka-jo Hall?
Yep, Osaka-jo Hall. 2 days.
I'm the big thing then for me is going to be checking the attendance of those shows because like we'll see. I think Edion Arena would have been better. It's easier to get to than because it's in the heart of downtown Osaka.
Yeah.
If you go to like the Namba area, which is like basically the Shinjuku area, equivalent of Tokyo. But let me tell you something about Edion Arena, Karen. Their air conditioning is fucking awesome.
Oh, I do love some good air conditioning.
Yeah, especially this summer. I was like, is this gonna? Because I've seen the G1 like at least 3 times in Edion Arena, and every time I've went there, my God, I was like, wow, I'm so happy. It's way better than Sumo Hall in the summer. So there you go.
Good
so
to
if
know.
If you're gonna see a wrestling show in Osaka, it's at Edion Arena. Do not worry, you will be comfortable. Yes, but not Sumo Hall. I love Sumo Hall, but not in the summer. I'm never gonna go back to the Sumo Hall in the summer. But let's take a look at this card. It's a pretty loaded card. They're gonna have pretty much everyone on the show. Let's run through. Let's take turns. I'll start off. There's an opening. What is it? A 10-man here? Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, who have left Bullet Club. They've joined the regular army here. Ryusuke Taguchi and Master Wato. Very odd grouping here. Versus Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, Geto, Taiji Ishimori, and El Desperado. So it's like,
no, that can't be right. El Phantasmo.
El Phantasmo. Yes. Okay. So basically, yes, sorry. It's too many L's in this company, maybe. It's basically pretty much everyone I hate in Bullet Club. I hate Fale. I hate Chase Owens. Geto. I hate Geto. Who else do I hate? I like Ishimori. And I hate El Phantasmo. These are all wrestlers. Like if they all like disappeared, they went to wrestle in some company I never wanted to watch again. I would not be sad about this. Taiji Ishimori can stay. Like it's fine. Everyone else can go. Fuck off or whatever. I don't care. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this match here, Karen?
Call me sentimental. But see, I'm excited to see Tama Tonga wrestle next to, not against, Hiroshi Tanahashi for the first time in a very, 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 very long time. That's just the shameless fangirl in me, and when it comes to Tanahashi, I get all. I have a soft spot for him, so it's fine. I am curious to see how they continue to wrestle as baby faces especially alongside Taguchi and Wato.
Well, I mean, Taguchi's his own like kind of bag of tricks, I suppose.
I want to, because I know that right now it's kind of Hontai is getting tangled into the Bullet Club situation, kind of like when Jade defected from Chaos. Hontai and Chaos got thrown together to fight Bullet Club at that time. And I feel like that's starting to happen again. But they're also splintering it at the same time with throwing House of Torture at Suzuki-gun and kind of removing them from the situation. But it's like, I don't know if Tama Tonga and Tangaloa are technically turning babyface or are babyface or just being taken in by the babyfaces because they have nowhere else to go right now.
Right. It's some more of a Ghetto's long-term booking here.
I don't want to say that I'm angry at Geto, but like the way that it was explained on commentary, it made it seem like it was less of Jay White kicking Tama Tonga out of Bullet Club than Geto and Jado having their breakup after 33 years. I just don't know anymore.
Yeah, like that's where you want to place the emphasis on commentary is like Geto and fucking Jado, 2 guys who have no business being in the ring anymore. Anyways, next, let's go for the next match, please.
All right, so we've got it's a mixture of Chaos with Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, and Togi Makabe against Taichi, Minoru Suzuki, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
It's Great Bash Heel.
Yeah.
It's a reunited Great Bash Heel there with Ishii, Yano, and Makabe there. Yeah, what's the story behind this match if there is one?
I haven't paid attention to it. I feel like it was just thrown together basically to make some semblance of a fresh pairing or fresh to newer fans pairing. Because I don't remember seeing Ishii and Makabe tagging together any time that I can remember in recent history. So,
well, yeah, it seems very much like, you know, your rando, you know, 6-man tag on a Japanese card to like just fill out space and give people something to do.
Again, it's chaos and Hontai being kind of blurred together because their numbers are dwindling. So,
yes, yeah, probably. Anyways, next match, 6-man tag, El Desperado, Taka Michinoku, who I call El Desperation. That's my nickname for him. And Doki taking on House of Torture, Sho, Evil, and Yujiro Takahashi. I know you're a big Sho fan. I like Sho. I'm not really keen on this current incarnation of Sho. I can skip this match. This is probably, if I was there live, Karen, this is where I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna go see what merchandise is out there that I want to buy.
As a long time Sho and Yo fan, the evolution of Sho and Yo into their current incarnations has been a bit of a challenge for me. There are times when I really, really love it. There are times when I really, really hate it. My problem is right now is that they're pushing Sho into the program with Desperado for the title. But no matter how I look at it, I don't see Sho winning the championship as he is right now. But I guess it'll be fun. But I don't know how separate House of Torture is going to be from Bullet Club after all of this blows over.
I predict that Dick Togo is going to do a run in and garrote somebody. That's my big prediction for this match.
I mean, it'll probably be Taka because everybody hates Taka apparently.
El Desperation, Taka Michinoku.
He's the one that gets all the beatings and all the beat downs. So
I feel that they're sending him a message for embarrassing them with his like the revelations about his behavior. Anyways, next, go ahead, Karen.
Hiroki Goto, Tomoaki Honma, and Tiger Mask versus the one that everyone keeps talking about, Shima, T-Hawk, and El Lindemann from Gleet. So
that's right, Strong Hearts. Hashtag Strong Hearts. How familiar were you with the Strong Hearts before they came into New Japan, Karen?
Well, I do occasionally watch the Gleet. I enjoy Gleet very much. So am I familiar with the extreme depth of them? Have I caught up with them recently? Not so much, but because there's just so much wrestling to watch lately. But I am excited, and I am glad that this wasn't just a one-off from earlier in the year. So
they're everywhere, Strong Hearts. They're in fucking Gleet. And it's Gleet, by the way. I don't fucking care that they say great. You should have spelled with a fucking R, all right? I'm going to call it fucking Gleet.
The devil works hard, but Shima works harder because he is everywhere.
He's everywhere. They're in fucking All Japan. They're probably going to show up in fucking Noah at some point. That's my prediction, you know? And of course, you know, like, and here in New Japan. So like, Lindemann, T-Hawk, the more exposure these guys get, the more different people they wrestle. It's great for them, you know. I don't think, hopefully, Lindemann is not taking the fall because he is the G-Rex champion of Gleet. So he better not be taking the fall. Like,
I think it's either going to be Tiger Mask, Honma, or I don't want it to be T-Hawk, but it'll probably be Honma, I think.
Probably. Like, I don't see where, like, you know, Hontai needs to win this match. So it's probably going to be Honma. Honma can take the pin. He's
fine.
He's fine. Doesn't matter if he's just known as being guy who eats the pins anyways. Next match, Yo, and this is very confusing. Yo and Yoshihashi, all caps, team all caps here versus the United Empires, Great Okan and Jeff Cobb here. Seems a little odd to put like, you know, one of these guys like Yo here being a junior heavyweight against two really beefy dudes in United Empire, especially with Jeff Cobb.
I feel like they just wanted Yo on the card, and Jeff Cobb's probably gonna yeet Yo into the fifth row.
Yeah, he's getting suplexed.
I love Yo and I love Jeff Cobb, but I feel like Jeff Cobb's just gonna whoop and just like launch him out of the ring somewhere.
I think he's planting him into the mat with a powerbomb. That's just my prediction. in that match.
He's getting the tour of the islands. I don't think Yoshihashi's gonna be the one biting the bullet on this one.
No, he could, because then it could set up a tag team title match.
Yeah,
with Great Khan. If one of them pitch,
I mean, Yo could stage the upset, pin Great Khan. Who knows?
I don't think that's happening. It's New Japan. They're always not feeding like someone that they have a high hype for in the heavyweight division.
I know.
Anyways, next match. Who is it? You or me?
My turn. It would be Hiromu Takahashi and Bushi versus Will Ospreay and Aaron Hanare.
Okay, again, this is these two. Hiromu and Bushi are junior heavyweights, and Ospreay and Hanare are heavyweights. So this is kind of an interesting match pairing. What's the story behind this, Karen?
I think they're out for vengeance for Sonata after he got his orbital bone fractured in that match against Ospreay. I feel like it's also going to turn into the Ospreay and Hiromu show because they have that history together as junior when they were in junior heavyweights and fighting for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. I feel like it's probably going to come down to Bushi being the one that's going to end up getting pinned in this one.
Probably,
but
maybe he's going to get a good win here, though. That'd be nice.
Bushi will probably get pinned by Hanare.
Yeah. That's okay.
While Ospreay and Hiromu fight all over the arena doing stupid and crazy things.
You know, it'd be great if this leads to like a extended program with Ospreay and Hiromu, and it culminates in a hair versus hair match that Ospreay loses, and then we can finally be rid of that stupid chia pet that he's got growing on his fucking head.
I would not be mad at that.
That has got to be one of the stupidest fucking things Ospreay has done in recent years. Is that fucking haircut?
He's had many hairstyles, but this one, it's not flattering.
No, he looks like an idiot.
And I people who follow me know I'm not the biggest Ospreay fan, but it's just like I just want to sit him down and be like, honey, this haircut is not it. It's really not it.
It doesn't. It's not a star haircut.
No.
It's not a fucking star haircut. Listen, you might as well just grow.
It's not top tier star haircut.
He might as well grow a fucking mullet. That's all I gotta say. You know, the chia pet's totally is worse than a mullet. Some people can pull off a mullet. Look at Shingo Takagi. He can pull off a mullet. Ospreay, the chia pet, gotta go. That's all I'm gonna say.
Or maybe he needs some product in it. I don't know. It just something doesn't look right about it.
Listen, nobody needs like a fucking fade with a perm. No one. It's just wrong to have. All right. Now we get to the New Japan Cup semifinal matches. So we whittled down the field of 1,000 wrestlers into 4 people. First match will be Shingo Takagi taking on Zack Sabre Jr. And my wild prediction for this is going to be Zack Sabre Jr. beating Shingo in this match.
See, I keep going back and forth about this one for 2 reasons. Of the 4 finalists, Shingo's the only one who hasn't won the New Japan Cup. But of the 4 finalists, Zach's the only one who hasn't won the World Championship or a World Heavyweight Championship or a Heavyweight Championship because there's so many of them. Oh god, I mean, gun to my head, I feel like the match is they're going to go for the one that they didn't get, which was when Naito got hurt in the G1. I feel like it's going to be Shingo Naito, but I could be wrong.
I would save that for something else personally. Like I would say that for a G1 final, to be honest with you, if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that, G1, let's be honest, G1 greater than New Japan Cup. I think it's going to be Zach. And in fact, let's go to the next, the second semifinals. Go ahead, Karen.
And the other one is Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito.
And who do you have winning that particular match?
I mean, from when I did my brackets at the beginning, I had Naito going all the way to the finals anyway. So okay. I have Naito going. I would love to see Naito versus Zach or Naito versus Shingo. Oh, I don't think they're gonna have Okada go into the final.
No, he doesn't really need to, right? He's champion. He doesn't need to win it.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. I mean, people are saying, well, it's a 50th anniversary. Okada could probably be the one to win it again and pick his challenger, but where's the fun in that? I want to see Okada eat an L.
here's the thing with because then the finals will be on the Sunday, right? So,
correct.
So it's probably already sold as many tickets as you're going to sell for it. Like if you have Shingo versus Naito as your main event, for the finals. Like that will sell more tickets. Obviously, I think there'd be a great walk up. But again, I think that's something you build towards for a bigger card, and you advertise it at like a month ahead of time that Shingo is going to finally face Naito, and you sell at a bigger building than Osaka Joe Hall. Like, there's like you can do the Yokohama or a bigger
one of the
building.
stadium if they do another stadium show over the summertime.
Then that's where I would save that. So I feel it's going to be Naito. I don't think Okada needs to win to go into the semifinals. I think it's going to be Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr.
That would be a great match.
And I think Zack Sabre Jr. will win the New Japan Cup.
Spicy.
I was listening to JP and Ben over at Grapple, and I think
I do love those guys.
Yeah, they're great. And I think it was JP who made the point of like, give it to Zack. This could be like, hey, thank you for staying. Thank you for being loyal and sticking it out with us and learning Japanese and just being like, one of the few people who's like not problematic in our company, especially one of the foreigners not being problematic in our company. So and why not? You know what? Like, I think at some point Zack Sabre Jr. should get a massive push and join that elite company in the top tier of New Japan.
He's put in the work, and when they split Techers up for them to, do the G1 and to go into the New Japan Cup and everything, I've been hoping that Zack Sabre Jr. would have a singles title in New Japan that wasn't the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship.
You mean the IWGP British Heavyweight Championship? Because that's basically what it was. It was an IWGP branded title.
The never British Openweight Championship. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Zack, regardless of the pandemic, he stayed, he did the work, he worked all the tours. He was more a company man than other people who were being pushed above him and before him, and as he got pushed further and further back in the line. I don't know if they would do back-to-back years of foreigners winning the New Japan Cup, especially having him win it a second time though, but they could prove me wrong. He
should have got the push Ospreay should have got.
I agree. He should be the leader of the United Empire. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
that's my spicy take. I
don't think it's spicy.
No, you don't, but I know that the Ospreay fans are going to come for me for that. But honestly, Zack
fucking cares about them. I don't.
Zack should have been the one to head up the United Empire.
Zack should leave Suzuki Gun. I'm just saying that, and he should like actually form his own faction. Like as well, like I don't think it serves him
his merry band of techers, all his technical guys.
No, I think he has to break away from Minoru Suzuki. Like whether he keeps a relationship with Taichi or not is I think he has to break out from all of them and really kind of forge his own path with his own handpicked unit, so to speak. So we'll see what happens. But that's my spicy take, as you like to say, Karen. is like Zack Sabre Jr. will be a 2-time New Japan Cup winner, and he's going to beat Naito, and then you're going to have a rematch with Okada and Zack. It's always a great match. If that happens, I do not think Zack will beat Okada, because I think they're going to probably keep the belt on Okada till Wrestle Kingdom. So because it's the 50th anniversary, and he is pushed as the greatest champion in the history of the IWGP World Title. So I would put Tanahashi still above him in historically.
Same.
And I would also push, like someone like Shinya Hashimoto above Okada. And don't get me wrong, I love Okada. I think he's one of the greatest wrestlers to emerge in the last 20 years. But to me, it's like you would have to do a lot to replace Tanahashi and someone like Shinya Hashimoto in my heart as like in the pantheon of IWGP World Champions.
Well, and my thing is that Okada's been, he's under 35 and he's done the World Heavyweight Championship multiple times with historic reigns. But I need him to do something different for a while. Like when KOPW first started 2 years ago, I thought he was going to have more of a hand in that, as opposed to it being like Yano's gimmick title for his YouTube channel. And like, I kept hoping that, we were going to get that tag team of him and Yoshihashi, but then they just threw him and Yoshihashi and Goto together, which it works for them. It worked for them great. But like, I need Okada to either start doing other things with other members of Chaos and not just be the guy that has the top belt, because I feel like Chaos has just kind of fallen apart underneath him with, Osprey leaving and Jay leaving and Show leaving, and Okada seems very nonplussed about it. He's like, oh, they can leave, it's fine. Like, he doesn't care, or he seemingly doesn't care that people keep betraying Chaos and like effing off and going elsewhere. So it's one of those things where just like, I need him to act more like a leader as opposed to being the one that hogs the spotlight while everybody else just kind of tries to keep Chaos working.
I also think he limits himself because he has, I think, gone on record to saying like he has no interest ever, going for any other belt other than the IWGP main title. Like, I think if he found a great tag team partner, it would be great for him to hold the tag team titles. He should look at someone like Jumbo Tsuruta. Like, Jumbo Tsuruta was the ace of All Japan Pro Wrestling in the 80s and the 90s, but he had no problem. Okay, someone else has got the singles title. I'm gonna go for the tag team titles, and it makes the tag team division relevant. It elevates the tag team titles. So I think if Okada like got his head out of his own ass, so to speak, and just said, you know what, I'm gonna go for these tag team titles with so and so. Like, I don't know who it would be, but pick a partner for him.
And that's the hard thing, is that since they merged the Intercontinental title into the World Championship, they've tried elevating the Never title, and for a while, when Tanahashi had it, when Shingo had it, it was kind of starting to get there, but it never really fully got to the same level as the IC title. And now I feel they're kind of trying to do that with the US title, but they kind of hotshot it from like Tanahashi to Kenta to Tanahashi to Sonata, and now Sonata's injured but is the champion. And it's one of those things where they haven't properly solidified a secondary singles title. So you end up having the same like cycle of people circulating and hovering around the World Championship, when they really need to think of people besides the same people, because God forbid somebody gets hurt, you're up a creek.
Yeah.
As we learned in the G1 when Naito had to drop out after the first match when he lost to Zack.
It's very WWE to me, like the way they book their titles in New Japan right now. But yeah, so you have like, what's your prediction for the finals then? You have Takagi versus Naito. Are you going to stick with that?
Well, see, now that you said that, it's kind of a bigger match, I'm like, I want Shingo to have it, but then again, we run into the same thing where we just had Shingo Okada in January. Zack hasn't fought Okada in a very long time, so I wouldn't be upset with a Zack Naito final.
Well, we shall see. As the next week rolls around, we'll see what
if
the
I could predict the future, I would not be in the current job I am now. I'd have a lot more money.
There you go. And the finals card on the 27th, we only know who it's going to be the winners of each semifinal match going into the finals, and the rest of the card will be determined will be announced the day of. So, do you see any big surprises happening? Usually something big happens at Osaka-jo Hall. I feel like someone's going to show up. Maybe there's going to be a turn or something like that. What do you think, Karen?
I mean, they might do Show Desperado as the semi-main to get that junior heavyweight championship match out of the way. I don't know if they're gonna load it up where they have all the people who lost, like Wato and Tsuguchi are gonna have to defend, I guess, against Bullet Club's cutest tag team again. But
who's Bullet Club's cutest tag team?
ELP and Ishimori.
Oh, fuck off. No universe do I ever consider El Phantasm a cute person. Sorry.
But yeah, anyone showing any surprises? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to another Shibata match, but I don't know who would fight Shibata because Kenta's not 100% yet. So
again, I feel you save that. You save Kenta Shibata for like Wrestle Kingdom, maybe. Yeah, or a G1 match, a G1, G1 finals, A block finals or something like that.
Wants what the heart wants, though, man. I just miss seeing all my favorites wrestle. Everyone's going on the shelf right now. Like, Yo came off the shelf, and now Sonata's on the shelf. Naito was on the shelf. Shibata's back, but ever since January, we haven't seen him. He hasn't been like showing up at New Japan Strong at all. Like, if he is, he's backstage where nobody sees him. So. maybe
they're still figuring out if he can actually wrestle full time.
Yeah.
Despite what he wants to do.
Personally, I would save him for like a once in a while kind of thing, especially after like the news of Triple H and his whole heart situation this week. I'm just like, you know what? I just want to like wrap everybody that in bubble wrap, Biggie in his neck, wrap him in bubble like I want bubble boys and bubble girls all over the world. Like I can't. I don't want to see people get hurt. I really don't.
It's wrestling.
I know
people do
it's
get
a
hurt.
Combat sport.
It's part of the appeal of wrestling in terms of like there's always that danger. I don't want to see people get hurt either. I cringe when people do really stupid things, Kota Ibushi, and risk seriously injuring themselves or even killing themselves, Kota Ibushi. But still, it's part and parcel of being a wrestling fan. You kind of accept that these things, high risk things happen. But let's move on, Karen. Let's go to All Japan Pro Wrestling. I want to briefly touch upon some results from their Champions Night 3 show, part of their 50th anniversary tour. Some matches that I was able to catch. I will say something you should go out to watch is Shotaro Shino taking on Ryuki Honda, who've been feuding for the last couple of months. They had a last man standing match, and unlike most last man standing matches, which is stipulation, by the way, I hate. This was not a super long match. It was less than 13 minutes, and it was booked really well. So yeah, go check it out. Shotaro Shino taking on Ryuki Honda. Very, very good last man standing match, which is rare for me to say about any kind of last man standing match.
I'm making a note right now.
All right, and then there was the return of your favorite, Jake Lee.
Yay! Welcome back, Jake.
He joined his team members in Total Eclipse of Koji Doi, Kumarashi. But it's I always love saying Kumarashi because it means bear storm in English.
Yep. We do love a good bear storm.
Bear storm. Also Tajiri, Boo, and Yusuke Kodama. And they took on the reuniting legendary, I don't know, heel faction of the Voodoo Murders, Masayuki Kono, just called Kono with all caps, Shuji Kondo, who I love, great wrestler, Suwama, Toshizo, and the returning Taru, hopefully not returning permanently because I fucking hate Taru. He is such a he's like a pimple on the ass of humanity as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully it's only a one night return. This went, and I can't fucking believe this, Karen. It went to a fucking no contest. Seriously? You couldn't have fucking Jake Lee pin fucking Taru or any of these other guys who don't work for the fucking company? Are you Tajiri? Go fuck yourself.
Is Tajiri the booker for All Japan?
Yes, unfortunately he is.
Got it. Okay.
So, but anyways, we'll go to something that was actually really good. Go out of your way to see this. Kento Miyahara successfully defended the Triple Crown title against challenger Shuji Ishikawa, and this is a great match. And anytime you have Ishikawa taking on Miyahara, it's great. Like I would say, Ishikawa, Zeus, Suwama, and who else was before he left All Japan, Naoya Nomura were always guaranteed get great matches out of Kento, and also Jake Lee. Great chemistry. Kento's a great wrestler. He can be a little goofy sometimes, but as an in-ring worker who knows what to do, and more importantly, when to do it. That's the most important thing in being a professional wrestler, in my opinion. You can't beat Kento Miyahara, and I was saying to somebody on Twitter, 75% of All Japan is pretty good. Usually the stuff involving now, like Kento as a Triple Crown champion and Jake Lee coming back and anything involving like the Next Dream Boys and Shotaro Shino and Suwama together is good stuff. Some of the other stuff you can just, the undercard stuff is not that great, but as long as the main event and the semi-main event scenes are good, I'm pretty happy with All Japan.
I'm making notes on these batches. And I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. That sounds really good.
But the main point we want to talk about with All Japan is like they've announced all the matches for their Champion Carnival tournament for this year. And over at postwrestling.com, John Pollock put together a great great listing, great article about all the matches and stuff like that. So go check that. Go check out John's excellent work over on the kind of previewing the Champions Carnival. So let's talk about the blocks first of all. So A block consists of Jake Lee, Shuji Ishikawa, Shitaro Ashino, Ryuki Honda, Shigehiro Irie, and T-Hawk.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's a great block there.
It's a very robust block, and I'm here for it.
I love this block, but you know what, Karen? I might like B block maybe a little bit more. And
are you sure?
I might like it just because of one particular person. So the B block has a current Triple Crown champion, Kenta Miyahara, Suwama. Okay, now, it's not this person, by the way. It's not this person. Yoshitatsu, he can fuck off. That's not who I'm excited about. Yuma Aoyagi, I love Yuma Aoyagi. Kumarashi, and this is who I'm talking about, Karen, from Big Japan Pro Wrestling. One of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now, Takuya Nomura.
All right.
Takuya Nomura in the Champion Carnival this year. I'm all here for it. Let's fucking go. And I can't see him really losing to too many people in this. Like outside of maybe Suwama and maybe Miyahara, I can see him getting quite a few points and going to Final Four maybe.
Oh, okay.
So that's my kind of hot take about that. But listen, like I think for me, it's got to be Shitaro Ashino this year. He's got to win the whole thing.
Ooh, that is a good shout. I would not be mad at that.
But let's look at the matches. Maybe not all of them. I'll just go through the big ones on each show. It begins April 9th in Osaka, probably at Edion Arena 2. Because All Japan cannot sell out Edion Arena 1, the main one that New Japan usually runs, and takes place over the course of nine shows, with the finals happening at Korakuen Hall on May 4th. If I was still in Japan, Karen, I would definitely go to this. If I was still in Japan. Saturday, April 9th, we have Shuji Ishikawa taking on Shigehiro Irie, Jake Lee taking on Shitaro Ashino. That should be great. Ryuki Honda versus T-Hawk, Miyahara versus Kumarashi, Suwama versus Yuma Aoyagi, and Takuya Nomura versus Yoshitatsu. And if Yoshitatsu beats fucking Takuya Nomura, I will throw all the insults I can find at one Tajiri.
That's fair.
Sunday, April 10th in Hamatsu in Shizuoka Prefecture. Shuji Ishikawa versus T-Hawk, Miyahara versus Suwama, Nomura versus Aoyagi. I would totally go to this show because like you got this it's all like prime ribs here. There's no fat on this thing at all, Karen. Like, and have you ever been to Hamatsu?
I have not.
Have you not? So you know about Hamatsu gyoza?
I have heard the stories, and I do love some good gyoza.
So you know how like it's what makes it special is like half of it's fried and the other half of it is boiled. It's pretty good. I've had
the best of both worlds.
It's the best of both worlds. I've had Hamatsu because I lived in Shizuoka. Mind you, getting to Hamatsu from Numazu by the Shinkansen, it takes longer than going to Tokyo. Which is
really,
yeah, it's really fun. It's like on the western end of Shizuoka Prefecture as you go towards Osaka.
Okay,
but it's really far. But it's a fun place. I really like going to Hamatsu whenever I've been there. But Monday, April 11th, back to Korakuen Hall. Ashino versus T-Hawk. This is kind of a rematch of like when they were both in Wrestle 1 and they were feuding over the Wrestle 1 world title. So that's going to be an excellent match. Jake Lee versus Ishikawa, Nomura versus Suwama. Oh, that should be good. And Yoshitatsu versus Kumarashi. This is like I really need to go relieve myself. And I'm gonna go to the bathroom right now. That's my match that I and probably pretty much everyone else is probably gonna use that as their wash and break. Wednesday, April 13th in Yokohama, Lee versus Irie should be good. Ryuki Honda versus Ashino. They've like I said, these guys have had like a really kind of a blood feud in All Japan recently, so that should be a really good heated match. Miyahara versus Nomura. Ooh, oh my god, that's gonna be good. Friday, April 15th at Shinkiba First Ring, a venue you and I have both been to. Yes.
Yes, I have been to Shinkiba.
It's one of my favorite places to watch All Japan. Actually, is Shinkiba. Or have I ever seen All Japan at Shinkiba? Oh wait, you know what? I've never seen All Japan. I've seen Stardom and I've seen Big Japan.
I've seen Stardom in Shinkiba, and it's a very intimate venue. It's very small, but I ended up in the seats that were against the steel wall on the opposite to the doors. So the draft that came underneath the partition, it was not a good time for me.
We were sitting right beside the ramp. Like, it was me, Martin Bushby, his wife Lisa, John and Wei. We were standing by the ramp, so like we're just like, oh, there's one of the wrestlers sitting on the apron in a tag match, and it's like, well, you don't want to have the unwanted male gaze, right? Like, so we're like, I feel like, okay, I gotta avert my eyes somewhere besides the tag team partner of whoever's in the ring, because I don't want to be that person. You know what I'm saying? So,
which, as a female wrestling fan, I appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah,
no, your consideration.
Just my own personal feeling. If you want to, like, unveil your unwanted male gaze on, women in wrestling, you be my guest. I'm not condoning it or endorsing it. I just don't do it myself. Anyways, at Shinkiba, Ishikawa versus Ashino should be good. Irie versus Honda, it should be okay. Aoyagi versus Yoshitatsu. Oh God, yeah, I'm sure Yuma can get something out of Yoshitatsu here. And Kumarashi versus Suwama, two big boys battling it out. Like, should be all right. In Chiba, on the next day, we have T-Hawk versus Irie. Battle of the Strong Hearts. They're both members of Strong Hearts. Jake Lee versus Ryuki Honda, which is interesting because Ryuki Honda is the one who took out Jake Lee accidentally, who injured him for real. And then he joined Total Eclipse. So it's like, this is interesting dynamic. Hey, he's the guy who injured you, but he's also now a member of your faction. And he's kind of like being pushed as kind of like the de facto leader of Total Eclipse while Jake was out.
Oh,
seemingly
spicy. Let's go.
So this should be kind of furthering their storyline. And former tag partners Kento Miyahara and Yoshitatsu will do battle. And listen, like, if Kento Miyahara can't get a good fucking match out of you, there's something wrong with you. And I'm talking about Yoshitatsu here. And finally for that day is Kumarashi versus Yuma Aoyagi. And then we will have the last two block shows, both emanating from Korakuen Hall. Jake Lee versus T-Hawk. Oh, I don't know who you're gonna cheer for here, Karen. Like, there's two like.
I'm the winner of that match. You're the winner of that match. They have blessed me with an absolute peak handsome battle between two of my favorites. So thank you, All Japan, for your fan service.
Irie versus Ashino, Ishikawa versus Honda, and that's all Block A matches. And so usually you'll determine who the leader of who's going to go into the finals from that show, from A block. Block B, Miyahara versus Aoyagi. Next stream, imploding. Well, maybe not. We'll see. Suwama versus Yoshitatsu, whatever. And Kumarashi versus Takuya Nomura. And then the following week on May 4th at Korakuen Hall, Block A winner versus Block B winner. And
we're already in the Golden Week, man.
Wow. So my for Block A, I have Jake Lee taking Block A, and I'm going to say it's probably going to be Block B winner is probably going to be Suwama.
Ooh.
And I'm going to say Jake Lee is going to win the Champion Carnival and challenge for the title.
Years?
And challenge for the title. He never lost against Kento Miyahara, and hopefully reclaims the Triple Crown Championship from Kento.
I would co-sign that because I'm not mad at it.
I think because you have the built-in storyline of Suwama never dropping the Triple Crown because he got COVID.
Yeah.
And so Jake never got his coronation against him. So winning the Champion Carnival against Suwama would be the next best thing. And then you have like the rivalry in All Japan is between Jake Lee and Kento Miyahara. And like, what better way for him to regain the title than from his hated rival of Miyahara? So I'm going to say Jake's going to win the Champion Carnival and then subsequently will win the Triple Crown from Kento down the line from there.
Sounds good.
Any thoughts about the Champion Carnival before we continue?
I want to try to watch it again this year. I enjoyed watching it last year because that was my first foray into the world of All Japan. And that's how I rapidly fell in love with Jake Lee, and I'm glad he won it last year, and I would love to see him win it again.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's going to be like they're a company that would have the same person win in consecutive years.
I think because Jake Lee had such a jinxed year after that.
Yeah.
They would go like, okay, let's give it to Jake
like
again.
give him a redo.
Yeah, I mean he's had such like terrible run of bad luck, you know, like from not beating Suwama after they built up the match because of COVID, and losing like and getting injured himself, and then you know just a lot of things happened to Jake, like not necessarily directly towards him, but in terms of like his elevation and his push. So I think what you really want to establish him, so you got to redo the push, so to speak, this year. So and hopefully nothing, no bad luck jinxing Jake this year. From here, let's move on to Pro Wrestling Noah. Kind of the main thing I want to talk about are some like upcoming title matches they're gonna have. But the most exciting thing for me about Noah is all this foreign talent that's either debuting for Noah or returning to Noah. And I'm gonna run through some of these names with you, Karen. So we have from Mexico, Dragon Bane, who's returning to Noah, along with Alpha Wolf. These two have worked for Noah before the pandemic, so they're making their returns, and they're going to be on I think April 29th. They're going to be in a 3-way match with the debuting from the United States, from the American Indies, Ninja Mac, and that should be a pretty crazy match because all these guys like to do a lot of flips and fly around and have no regard for their own personal safety.
I am not familiar with any of these names, so from the list though, there are two I recognize, but everybody else, they're brand new information for me. So I'm gonna be excited to learn a little bit about each of them as they come in and start working.
I told Ninja Mac on Twitter, I said, hey, he does this gimmick where he likes to tie people's shoelaces together.
I don't do that.
Huh? Yeah, don't do that. You know what? Don't do it in Japan. And especially if you're gonna do that and it's some guy dressed in a really tacky, expensive suit wearing sunglasses, don't do it to him. You might get in trouble. You might not return back to America. That's all I'm gonna say. And so I told him, don't do that. I don't think he took my advice seriously though, but hopefully he's okay. Okay, the next name on this list, you must be excited about this. From Australia, Slacks.
Yeah, let's go. I was very happy about this because it for me as a New Japan fan and as a TMDK fan, if I couldn't have Mikey, Shane, and Jonah back in Noah, but I got them in New Japan, I was kind of happy to see that Slex is finally getting to go to Japan.
Yeah,
and if it's not in New Japan, but with Noah, I want to say he did a short stint in Noah before he started staying in Australia full time, but I'm very happy for him.
He's going to be one of the few foreign heavyweights to join. Most of these guys are junior heavyweights that are coming in for the next tour. So it's interesting because like that's something where Noah kind of has been lacking, especially during the pandemic. It's like for a foreign star, and like if he gets over, I can see like maybe they offer him like, okay, you want to be our top foreign guy in the company.
They could easily make him a top guy.
Excuse me. So just clearing my throat. I might take a drink of something as we continue. Returning to Noah from the UK, Chris Ridgway is going to come back.
I'm excited for this one too.
To Pro Wrestling Noah, and yeah, it's good. Like I know he's had a lot of problems, like dealing with the pandemic and not being able to wrestle as much as he would like. He was in Japan before the pandemic. It's a shame. I think he should have stayed. He should have done a Zack Sabre Jr. and just stayed in Noah. Like he probably could have got a visa extension and all things being equal. But he went back to United Kingdom. Now he's going to come back to Noah, and yeah, I think it'll be exciting. One thing I would love to see happen is like if all things go really well with this tour, and he's like firmly established within Noah again, that he has a relationship with two guys in the United Kingdom called the Young Guns, Luke Jacobs and Ethan Allen, who are a really promising tag team over in the UK. Like everyone who follows the UK scene, the Brit Rest scene, will rave about these two. And I've seen a couple of their matches against each other and in tags. And I would love, people like always say, oh, these guys should go, like so-and-so should go in from the United Kingdom or America should go to New Japan. You should get a tour of New Japan. It's like, you know what? New Japan's crowded. You don't need to get lost in the shuffle as a foreigner in New Japan anymore. You should be thinking about going to All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, or Gleet, or fucking Big Japan, whatever, right? Like, just get somewhere besides New Japan, because you're not going to stand out in Japan unless you're already a star, unless you're like got 7 years as a WWE main eventer or something under your belt. Like, you're not going to get a huge push in New Japan, in my opinion. So for someone like Slex, it's great. And if possible, if the young guns can get to the Japan, I think it'd be better if they won't get lost in the shuffle in Pro Wrestling Noah, I feel. So
and that's the thing, is that I think it's because New Japan recently has the larger established presence in the United States with, working with Impact and AEW and Ring of Honor before it folded. It's one of those things where everyone just thinks it's like everyone, eventually wants to go to WWE. That's the big name. That's like when you associate with Japan, you think of New Japan before you think of the others. And I really think that if more people could learn more about the other promotions, especially ones like Noah or All Japan, they could see that there are other avenues to get to Japan if you want to have that wrestling experience in Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, and again, it's like, how are you going to stand out against the existing foreigners in Japan? In New Japan,
the existing ones are very established.
Yeah, and they're going to guard their spots very jealously. So here, like, listen, personally, Noah, it's wide open for if you're a foreign talent. It's wide open, right? Let's continue. Joining Perros del Mal de Japón is El Texano Jr. Returning to Pro Wrestling Noah, and one half of the tag team champions that never lost titles. They had to vacate them because they went back to their respective countries, and then one of them is Rene Dupree. He's coming back to Pro Wrestling Noah, and joining him is his tag team partner. I like to call him Dr. Wagner Jr. But formally he's
no. There's a typo on there. I was like, there's two juniors.
No. Well, formally he's called El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. But I like to call him Dr. I call him Dr. Wagner Jr. So Dr. Wagner Jr. coming back to Noah. I'm actually excited. I actually like Wagner Jr. here. So like it'll be, and I think they'll probably reform their tag team Dupree and Wagner Jr. And I'd probably go after the tag team titles. Probably get fed to like some of Nosawa's drinking buddies, like Sugiura and Hideki Suzuki, who are the current champions. Anyways, and finally rounding off the names, and this is cool, like a name I remember seeing a lot, but I'm not super familiar with him. But it's nice to see like he's gonna come get a tour with. I think he's returning to Noah as well, and that is one Extreme Tiger.
Ooh.
So there you go. I'll check out some of these guys' matches in Noah. If not, I might. There's a lot of stuff I'll skip in Noah. Excuse me, but probably I'll try to check out some of these guys, especially the junior heavyweights, because I do think they're going to offer a lot to Pro Wrestling Noah and just really revitalize, like not revitalize, but like give it a real nice injection of freshness. And that's one of the things I like about this list of names, Karen. It's like these guys are all fresh. There's like none of these are like people you've seen in Japan time and again. Maybe Rene Dupree to some extent, but pretty much everyone else is like really like they don't have that much exposure in Japan.
I'm excited.
Are you excited?
I just feel like I have to learn a lot of new names and a lot of new people and places and things, and it's a little overwhelming, but the good kind, I guess.
I think you'll acquit yourself. It's not like you have to write reports for this stuff anyway, so it's not
yet anyway.
Well, not yet. So like I said, Dragon Bane, Alpha Wolf, Ninja Mac will have a 3-way match on April 29th at where's this again? Yokohama? This is at Yokohama, I think. No, Sumo Hall. It's 2 nights at the Sumo Hall. Yeah, so Sumo Hall, they're going to have a 3-way match, which will also feature a very interesting junior heavyweight 6-man tag match, because we're going to see Dragon Gate's Z-Brats faction. They're the the big heels in Dragon Gate right now. Shun Skywalker, Hio, and SB Kento will take on the Noah regular army juniors of Daisuke Harada, Alejandro, and Junta Miyawaki. And they set this up because they attacked, Z-Brats attacked Daisuke Harada, revealed themselves to be from Dragon Gate, and then just cut a very disparaging promo on Harada, Alejandro, and Junta Miyawaki. So I think this will be a fun match, and it's always nice to see like people from other companies come into Noah, especially when they're like of a different style, like the guys in Dragon Gate.
I'm not all that familiar with Dragon Gate, even though a lot of my friends have recently started watching it, but it seems to be like that company, from what I gather, tends to be more junior weight oriented.
Yeah, it's a junior heavyweight promotion, so for the most part, with a few exceptions here and there. But I mean, Noah's really opened the door to Dragon Gate with like bringing Masaki Mochizuki to team with Marufuji and
Eita.
just and Eita's the current GHC junior heavyweight champion, so it's a very healthy relationship. So like and I'm curious to see where it goes. Like I like it seems to be benefiting Pro Wrestling Noah more than Dragon Gate, but like hopefully the favors will be starting to be returned, and Dragon Gate will see some talent exchange and people coming in to wrestle on their big shows as well.
Hopefully it'll bring more fans to Dragon Gate, because I know because people are always curious about it, but I don't really see as many people following it as I do other promotions.
Right. I think we'll probably see a bit more. I think especially if, like, for example, Z-Brats, and they should have a very good acquitting of themselves against the Noah junior heavyweights. So let's see, what else have we got here? So, we had a match where Kazuyuki Fujita, the current GHC heavyweight champion, he defeated Masato Tanaka. Who fucking cares? I didn't watch this match. I'll never watch this match because I don't care about Fujita being the champion. But I suppose the interesting thing is that right afterwards, Go Shizaki challenged him for the title because he had actually defeated his former tag team partner, who was also the former champion that was defeated by Fujita. And that is what he defeated. So Go defeated Katsuhiko Nakajima in a very hard-hitting singles match. And then he challenged Kazuki Fujita for the GHC title. And that will happen on April 30th at Sumo Hall. And hopefully it's not 50 minutes of them fucking staring at each other, Karen.
I don't get me wrong. I am excited and thrilled that Shiozaki is back. I was happy when he, showed up and ruined Keno's moment with Nakajima after their time limit draw. But it's been hard to watch Shiozaki just lose and lose and lose and lose, and like all of a sudden now he's back in the title picture, and I'm just like, I feel like he should have been winning a little bit more. But if him beating Nakajima to leapfrog to the front of the line is what needs to be done, okay.
Many people feel like he's going to take the title.
I mean, if he does, great.
I don't think it's gonna. I think he's getting fed to Fujita.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the thing with Go is like he's on a losing streak because he doesn't go drinking with Nosawa. Because Nosawa's a fucking mark, so he only pushes the people that he goes drinking with. So,
man.
So there you go. So, anyways, that's gonna happen. We'll see. I to be honest, I'm not excited because I hated their last match.
Yeah, I don't need them to stare for like 50 minutes.
But we mentioned Eita. He is the current junior heavyweight champion, the GHC junior heavyweight champion. He will take on Hayata and his stupid pants on April 29th. I think that's the main event of that show. And I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not a fan of Hayata. I think dude needs a total makeover. Like, you've seen Hayata, you know what he wears?
Yes. He wears like the pantaloons, like the loose pants that look kind of like
they're
baggy pants, but
baggy pants from like early 2000s. One leg is rolled up and sneakers. It's like, really?
See, where I grew up, if you're walking around with like one leg rolled up, that's often associated with gang culture. So I don't know why this guy is doing it for the look.
Because he's a loser.
But yeah, no. For those who are watching and seeing my reactions, as WH is narrating his opinions, these are actually written on the Google Doc that has our flow for the show. So when it says Hayata and his stupid pants are next challengers, that's what it says.
Listen,
I'm trying not to laugh at it, but I'm just like, it's just. I appreciate the transparency.
I express myself and my honest opinions in many different forms, whether verbally or in written form. What can I say? That's just who I am. Let's move on. Recently, Takashi Sugiura and the returning Hideki Suzuki won the GHC tag team titles in a tournament, and their next challengers will be from Congo, Keno and Katsuhiko Nakajima. And Keno challenged them because he must have been thinking, like, he must have been on the same wavelength, because he says no one cares about Noah with all you old guys holding all the titles. So give me and Nakajima a chance at the tag titles. And I'm like, there you go.
Does Keno listen to Post Pro Res with WH Park?
He probably. I bet you he may or may not have the original Pillars shirt. I better not say anymore, because we might get into trouble if I reveal anymore. But yeah, Keno and me thinking alike. There you go. And then one more interesting match, not a title match or anything, but we're continuing the kind of the Dragon Gate involvement, and we're gonna see the reuniting team of Masaki Mochizuki and Don Fuji. Why are all these pop-ups happening on my computer? Anyways, they're teaming up to take on Kazushi Sakuraba and Kendo Kashin, and I just think this is gonna be a big train wreck. But I'm probably gonna watch this just because, like, I loved the team of Mochizuki and Don Fuji and Dragon Gate. So it'll be interesting. Mochizuki and Fuji are a little bit older now. So, and Sakuraba's pretty old now. And Kendo Kashin's pretty old now. But this should be kind of morbidly fun to watch.
It could be a fun time. Sometimes the older guys have a good time. If the Funky Express has a good time.
Oh, the Funky Express. Like, don't get me started. I'm not a fan. By the way, for those wondering, like, if I feel like my voice is deteriorating, and it's because it is, because like I just been so excited talking about all this great stuff. But we're gonna continue. We're almost there, Karen. We're almost there. We got some final notes here. One quick note about Gleet. I think this is really exciting. Gleet, as well as having a pretty exciting, like, young roster of male wrestlers. They do have a kind of a budding, Joshi division that's primarily made up of freelancers and stuff like that. Yeah. But recently, legendary Joshi wrestler Nanae Takahashi says that she's going to be competing on Gleet's April 20th show at Shinjuku Face, and I think that's just a great get if they can get Takahashi in. Just, is she a
freelancer, or isn't she with Seedling?
She's with Seedling, but again, like, if you're with Seedling, Marvelous, Ice Ribbon, Wave,
you can like kind of move around a little more.
Sendai
freely.
Girls, yeah, like, and that's the good thing about Gleet is, like, they'll bring in people from Sendai Girls, they'll bring women wrestlers from Marvelous and Ice Ribbon and just put them all on their shows, and it's cool. Like, it's kind of like this nexus of, like, Joshi on, like, as kind of, and I'm hoping, like, in the future, like, they say, okay, we're gonna open our dojo, we're gonna train more women, and we're gonna have our homegrown Joshi talent start being on our shows. But in the meantime, like, why not have, like, the great freelance talent that's out there come into your company? So I just wanted to mention that, because I thought, when I saw that on Twitter, I was like, oh, great, Nanae Takahashi in Gleet. Awesome. Hopefully it's a regular gig for her.
I hope so too.
All right, and we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna talk about Korakuen Hall, one of my favorite venue to watch pro wrestling. You have not had the pleasure yet, Karen.
Not yet. Someday.
One day you will. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe I won't. Probably I won't.
You take me. We're supposed to together.
It's not like you don't know where it is. You know what I mean? So
I know.
So
you want to go with somebody I know.
I'm sure, like, you find someone, when things open up again, there'd be no shortage of people that from Twitter and like your previous visits to go to Korakuen Hall with you. But let's talk about they're holding their 60th birthday celebration. They're gonna have some big shows to celebrate their big birthday. First of all, let's talk about April 15th. It's gonna be the Joshi Dream Festival. Like, I'll as my voice is getting kind of hoarse here, why don't you go through quickly this card?
All right, I'll just do the rundown for you. All right, so the first match is going to be a singles match with a 10-minute time limit with Maria from Marvelous and Riko Kawabata from T-Hearts. The second match is a 6-woman tag with, and they did this really cool thing where they just started mixing all the women from all the promotions and just threw them in matches together. So it's not like one particular, excuse me, promotion against others. So Asahi from Ice Ribbon, Kreia from Pure J, and Kaho Matsushita from Ice Ribbon are going to wrestle against Madeline from Diana, Nanami from Diana, and Kanon from Sendai Girls. Match 3 is also a 6-woman tag with Tomoko Watanabe from Marvelous, Kaori Yoneyama for YMZ, and Yuki Mashiro versus from Ice Ribbon versus Yuki Miyazaki from Wave, Kyusei Sakura Hirota from Wave, and Hibiscus Me from Ryukyu Dragon. Then there's a lot of 6-women tags on this with Koguma from Stardom, Manami from Senjo, Chie Ozora from Pure J versus Yuko Sakura from Colors, Riku Kaiju from Seedling, and Lady C from Stardom. The fifth match is a 6-woman tag with Kyoko Inoue from Diana, Sonoko Kato from Oz Academy, and Leon from Pure J versus Akino from Oz Academy, Ayaka Sato from Diana, and Raiden Hagane from Pure J. The sixth match is a tag match with Unagi Sayaka and Mina Shirakawa from Stardom versus Rin Kadokura from Marvelous and Haruka Umesaki from Diana. Eighth match is Chihiro Hashimoto from Senjo and Yu from Pro Wrestling Eve versus Mirai from Stardom and Maika Ozaki, who's a freelancer. Oh, and I just lost my place. One moment, please. And the main event is a 6-woman tag with Nagisa Nozaki from Wave, Saki from Colors, and Takumi Iroha from Marvelous against, get this, Mayumi Ozaki from Oz Academy, Maya Yukihei from Oz Academy, and Starlight Kid. And one cool thing about this particular show is over half of the women that are on this card debuted in Korakuen Hall.
Yeah, it's very cool. You missed a match though.
Did I?
Match 6, Tsukasa Fujimoto.
Oh my
gosh. And Arisa Nakajima will take on. It's kind of they're kind of a regular tag team from Seedling. We'll take on Yurika Oka from Sendai Girls and Ai Hozan from Marvelous. So it's
a lot of people.
it's a very long card. I worry that if I went to this show, like, I don't know if my endurance can handle it. Like, but I think most of these matches are probably going to be less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and then probably save the longer match times for probably match 8 and match 9 here. But the main event, Karen, April 16th, the actual 60th birthday of the opening of Korakuen Hall will feature New Japan crossover, All Japan. It's their 50th anniversary crossover show, and it looks like a great card. I'm going to let you go through it. Please, let's talk about it. Go ahead.
I'll try not to skip anyone this time. All right, so the opening match is a singles match with Kosei Fujita from New Japan and Ryo Inoue from All Japan. Match number 2 is a 6-man tag with Takao Omori from All Japan, Yuto Nakashima from New Japan, and Ryohei Oiwa from New Japan versus Yoshitatsu from All Japan, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Master Wato from New Japan.
I feel Yoshitatsu fits in perfectly with Taguchi and Master Wato here.
Possibly. I am curious to see how Takao Omori is going to work with the New Japan lines. That's what has me most curious about that.
Oh, he used to be in New Japan with.
Really?
Yeah, he used to team with Manabu Nakanishi.
Oh, okay.
Regularly. So before he went back to All Japan, he was actually quite a regular.
Okay.
In New Japan for wrestling.
Good to know. Thank you for that. Third match is Toru Yano and Tajiri versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Black Mensore.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, sure.
I feel like the only serious guy in that match is Kanemaru.
Probably yes.
Everyone else just is probably there for a good time.
He's probably just gonna drink on before, during, after. So
throughout the day.
That's right.
The fourth match is an 8-man tag with Makabe and Hanma from New Japan, tagging with the Aoyagi brothers of Yuma and Atsuki versus Los Ingobernables de Japón's Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Bushi.
That should be awesome. Like, honestly, the Aoyagi brothers are going to carry their side of things, to be honest with you.
They are.
But my God, Yuma Aoyagi in there with Naito and fucking Shingo.
I'm excited.
LFG, let's go.
Let's go. I don't know. Atsuki, little Atsuki might have a good time with Hiromu Ibushi.
He'll be fine. I'm not so excited about Makabe and Hanma being in it, but Yuma, oh my god, I love Yuma. He's so great.
And then the semi-main is it's a 6-man tag with New Japan's current tag champion, heavyweight champions, Goto and Yoshihashi, and with Yo versus All Japan's Suwama, Shotaro Ashino, and I spelled that wrong, Dan Tamura,
yeah. And Suwama and Shotaro Ashino are collectively known as Runaway Suplex, and they are the current All Japan World Tag Team Champions. So the tag team champions of each respective company, and one of their juniors going against one another. And I think if this gets like minimum 15 minutes, it's going to be a banger. Suwama beating the shit out of Goto. Shotaro Ashino just suplexing everyone all over the place. Let's fucking go. I'm very excited about this semifinal match.
When they originally announced this card or this particular crossover show, the match with Suwama and Goto was the first match they announced for this card. Everything else came afterwards. So it seems that they're gonna probably keep the titles on them, I'm guessing, until at least this show.
Yeah, I don't see anyone taking the titles, either tag team titles from either team before this show. So,
and then our main event,
maybe
possibly with a big asterisk at the moment, is Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kento Miyahara versus Jake Lee and asterisk Sonata, because Sonata
is this Team Karen, Sonata and Jake Lee?
I don't know. This whole main event is Karen. I don't know. Like I do appreciate Miyahara, and I am a shameless Tanahashi fan. So, but it breaks my heart that this might not happen, because Sonata got his origin story started in All Japan.
Yeah.
But now he's recuperating from eye surgery for his fractured orbital bone, and like as soon as this got announced by New Japan that he was being taken off of the New Japan Cup tour so he could convalesce and get better, Jake Lee's out there tweeting like, "What am I supposed to do for a partner? Who am I supposed to be partnering with now?" Because he may not be like, Jake Lee was very on top of the fact that he's like, my partner may not be here, so who's gonna fill in for him?
All right, so Karen, put on your fantasy booker hat. All right, Sonata can't do it, and has to be a New Japan guy who teams with Jake Lee against Tanahashi and Miyahara. Who do you pick?
Satoshi
Kojima and Jake Lee against Tanahashi, Kenta Miyahara. That would make sense. Kojima was a Triple Crown champion. He was multi-title holder in All Japan, and before he left and went back to New Japan. You know what? I actually think that would be better because he has more cachet. Sonata never really had a big career in All Japan before he jumped with Muto and everyone else to form Wrestle One. Yeah. But Kojima was Triple Crown. He's the only person to ever hold the Triple Crown and the IWGP Heavyweight title at the same time. So he has that he's the crossover guy of New Japan and All Japan.
Kojima's one of like my sleeper favorites. Like I have probably more Kojima shirts that I wear publicly, but I am a very massive Kojima fan. He's just lovely, and seeing that he's not listed on this card actually made me kind of sad, because I figured if anybody would be included on this card, it would have been him.
I mean, there is kind of an age bias against people his generation.
But like Suwama and him close in age?
No, because Suwama is like a generation after Kojima. So he debuted, like after Kojima had was a star in the company.
Got it.
He's kind of I think he's part of the dojo class that was trained by Muto and Kojima. So like believe it or not, Suwama is younger than Kojima.
Is he younger than he looks? Because I could have swore they were close in age.
I think he's older. He looks older.
Oh, okay.
Than he actually is, probably. He has one of those faces, I think. So, but yeah, so
he's got gentle uncle face.
There you go. But I think that's a good shout that if Sonata can't make this match, and it's very likely he's not going to. Like, I don't think you can recover safely from a broken orbital bone, like, and getting eye surgery
in less than a month. No,
in less than a month. I don't think that's going to be safe. So if it's not Sonata, let's go with Satoshi Kojima. That's a great idea. I didn't think of that, Karen. So
who did you have penciled in with your fantasy booking hat?
I didn't really give it too much thought because, like, to be honest with you, I haven't been paying super close attention to what's happening in New Japan recently. So I wasn't super cognizant about, Sonata's injury and stuff like that. But if I was going to go with, okay, someone from New Japan that would fit into this mix, because it has to be someone like Jake's a main eventer, Miyaharu's a main eventer, Tanahashi's a main eventer. Sonata's kind of a semi-main eventer. You know what I mean? Like, he's not at
he
that
should
level.
have had the Intercontinental title 2 years ago before they got rid of it. But that's a story for another day.
Honestly, you might as well just put Okada in there.
Yeah.
But then Miyaharu's not getting pinned. Here's the thing. If anyone was going to get pinned in the original lineup, it was going to be Sonata. It's probably going to be Tanahashi pinning Sonata in that match. Like, I don't think Jake should be getting pinned. I don't think Miyaharu should be getting pinned. It could have been Tanahashi. Tanahashi doesn't care anymore. Pin me. I don't care.
He's done everything. Like, I'm waiting for him to become never 6-man champion with Taguchi and Wato, just so he can, like, run the table and have held all the titles minus the junior heavyweight titles.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll keep a close eye on who's going to be the possible replacement in the main event of the Korakuen Hall 60th anniversary birthday celebration in the main event of that show. But it'll be someone big. I think it has to be someone who's a big name, legendary name possibly, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think that's it for us. Karen, thank you so much for joining me here on Post Perez.
Thanks for having me. I've missed this. We haven't done this in a while.
We'll do it again sooner than rather than later. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Do you have anything to plug?
Well, I will be doing Stardom coverage this weekend for the Stardom Climax. That's going to be starting in a couple of hours. And I will be doing the Cinderella tournament coverage next month as well. You can find me on Twitter and most social media at Hey Karen Sensei. And come hang. I enjoy conversations about wrestling. Just no reply guys. I don't like reply guys. Those that no. Stay away.
Okay, so reply guys, go fuck off. That's the message.
You heard the man.
That's the message to you fellas. Go just fuck off, okay? Anyways, myself, I just recorded the return of MCU later. We did the Moon Knight primer. Moon Knight's coming back next week, is starting next week. So we'll be having our review of episode 1 next Thursday. I'll be joined by Rich Fan from Pro Wrestling Torch because Wei has decided to abandon me for GCW, Game Changer Wrestling. He's now going to be called Deathmatch Wei. And I feel it's somewhere down the line on Post Wrestling, we're going to have an all Deathmatch review show with Wei, Deathmatch Wei, and Deathmatch Benno, Deathmatch Richard, as I like to call him. And they're going to, I think that they do that show, Karen, it should be called Light Tubes and Chippies. Because, it's just because when they hear this, when Benno hears this, or when JP hears this, they're going to be fucking laughing. And I'm going to get a private message from either of them or both of them. Who knows? And then, but Way's thinking, what the fuck's a chippy? If you listen to the Grapple Spotlight, you'll know what a fucking chippy is.
I know what a chippy is.
I had to get educated.
Been doing chippy.
I had to get educated about this stuff. But anyways, I'm going to have Rich on the show next week, so please listen out for that. But listen to the primer. It was a really fun time. I got to talk not only about give you the history of Moon Knight in the comic books, but also we talked about the Batman movie. We talked about the Book of Boba Fett and how much I hated half of it, and I loved the other half, but I hated half of it. You go listen to which half I hated, and just some comic book stuff as well. It's a fun show. I'm scheduled to be recording a show with another show with someone from the the Pro Wrestling Torch. That's one Alan Farrell. And we're going to be doing, hopefully, if everything goes according to schedule, we'll be doing a deep look at Claudio Castagnoli, a.k.a. Cesaro. We're going to look at his career and talk about 4 matches. Alan's picked 4 matches. I've picked 4 matches, which I got to watch this weekend. At probably on Sunday, I'm going to watch 4 Claudio / Cesaro matches. I love Cesaro. Huge fan from when he was back in Claudio, when he started in ROH. Before even he was even in ROH, I was a huge fan of Claudio. So I'm very excited about doing that with Alan, who I love talking to. And and then, April, we're going to have a pretty big episode of the Long and Windy Royal Road. I won't say why. Some people might be able to speculate as to why I'm saying it's a big episode. But you see the announcement about that. It's also coinciding with our, Post Wrestling's big WrestleMania week coverage here, Karen. But this is all really great stuff to look forward to from my end of the podcasting spectrum, so to speak.
I'm very excited. I'm also very curious all these cryptic sprinklings that you're doing. So I want to pick your brain when we're off the air.
You gotta tease the audience there, Karen. You just can't throw everything out there.
I know. I'm just really bad at that.
But anyways, by the way, just before we go, speaking of WrestleMania, are you covering, or are you interested in watching any of the offerings from the American side, the American promotions that are going to be doing stuff to coincide with WrestleMania week?
I want guaranteed I'm going to watch Lone Star Shootout because I'm a New Japan fan girl, and it also prepare me for when I go. I'm going to Windy City Riot in Chicago in a couple of weeks for their big show. Bloodsport 8. Josh Barnett does not disappoint me with his Bloodsport series, so those are the 2 shows that I'm definitely going to watch. I'm on the fence about Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor because I don't know what's going on with all of that.
You mean Super Con of Honor?
Well, yeah,
Super Tony Con. You know what I mean?
But also Impact's multiverse of matches cards are weirdly fascinating. So I don't know, but again, as much as I love watching all the wrestling, these do not come at a very cheap price. So I may need to pick and choose my battles during Mania week, and then sit out a couple of weeks and decide later if I want to go back and order stuff.
Well, how about NXT and Mania itself? Are you interested in anything? I take that. I guess not.
Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray did not need to win the Dusty Classic to insert themselves into the women's championship match because Cora Jade is challenging Mandy Rose.
I have no idea who Cora Jade is.
She is a brand new NXT 2.0 star that came in last year. And as someone who's been to multiple WrestleManias and multiple NXT takeovers, not just on Mania week, everything that's happened with 2.0, it made me realize that NXT is not meant for me anymore. It's meant for a more casual WWE fan as opposed to a diehard NXT fan. So it's not for me. My favorites are still on there. Kushida still wrestles there. Io still wrestles there. Saray and, Ike Manjiro are there. But it's not.
What about Wendy Chu?
I appreciate her pajama game.
I don't watch it, but I saw a clip of Wendy Chu.
It's not for me.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? She's a narcoleptic, right? Is that her? That's her gimmick?
I guess, yeah. She just sleeps a lot.
I think being a 7,000-year-old Chinese ghost was way better gimmick for her.
Yeah.
That's just me. Rather than a narcoleptic wearing your pajamas, and she brings a teddy bear to the ring.
I haven't watched.
Anyways,
it just makes me it's too hard. It makes me sad.
What about Mania itself? Are you excited to see Kevin Owens become a mid-card goof to get stunned by super old Steve Austin?
I'm glad I'm watching that at home and not going to Dallas and paying an exorbitant amount of money to watch that live.
The funny thing is, Karen, you've never been to Korakuen Hall yet.
Yes.
I've never been to WrestleMania.
Unless you have a lot of money and can afford either a good suite, a skybox, or good seats on the floor, it's great to experience once. I did it twice, and after I did it here in Orlando. That was my first one, and then I went to New Orleans, and that after New Orleans, and I had a miserable time at New Orleans WrestleMania. I was like, I am never doing this again. I would rather save my money and fly to Japan than burn money on going to WrestleMania proper. WrestleMania week, I'll go. Like if New Japan runs again and say like the Rev Pro finally comes back over, I'll go do all of those shows. But there isn't any particular match on WWE I'd want to see, because the only one I would have wanted to see would be Kyrie Io or Asuka Satomura, and none of that's happening. So
yeah, I've it's been to Toronto twice. I didn't go to either one. But I think that the desire on my part as a fan to ever want to see WrestleMania live is long gone. Like that ship has sailed, so to speak.
It's just not for me anymore. And that's okay. Like there are people that love it and there are people that are going, and I hope they have a great time and a safe time, but it's just not.
I'd rather go back to Japan, or like I'd go to WrestleMania week like you.
God, yes.
See all the adjacent shows and just meet people and maybe like have a big post wrestling outing with a bunch of people flying in or wherever it might be.
A live recording of post.
Oh, that's eventually happening, Karen. I think, I'm going to predict within the next 2 years, the big post wrestling gathering of as many podcasters on this network getting together to do, like, John and Wai will have their regular Q&A, but maybe as a side thing, maybe the night before we'll have the big table read with all of us on as many of us on stage, taking Q&As, and I will, and if that happens, I will critique what you're wearing. Not you, but people come up to the microphone stand and says, WH, what do you think of what I'm wearing? And here's the thing, I will be brutally honest. So just fair warning. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to be polite about it. If you look good, I'll say you look good. If you look like shit, I'm going to say you look like shit. What's with the combo? What's with the colors there? Doesn't match. Anyways, that being said, Karen, thank you so much again. And we'll see you soon together, you and me, on this here, this banner thing. This is really cool shit that Wai's come up with, I got to say. But until next time, anyways, keep an eye out for Karen's Stardom Report. You're going to get all the analytics and shit from that. It's going to be good stuff. I'm going to read it as soon as it drops. And you'll see me on the site and other places as well. But Karen, thank you so much. Everyone else out there, thank you so much. Thanks for buying the shirt. It's the highest selling shirt. It's the hottest t-shirt in the history of post wrestling. And let's continue. Again, proceeds from this t-shirt go to the Japanese Red Cross and to Doctors Without Borders Canada. And with that in mind, I will take my leave of you and say thank you for listening and goodbye.